All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again for a solo interview episode. The full episode with John and Chuck will be out later in the week, I believe on Thursday, talking to you on a Monday night. 3 of the 4 games for Monday have concluded. I got some good stuff. My Grizzlies upset the Thunder in a game I didn't even watch the second half of. As I've told you before, trying to take it easy, maybe get some exercise in on Mondays, so I did that. Kept checking my phone. Surprised to see that the Grizzlies hold on behind a huge Bruno Caboclo game, a huge Delon Wright game, Tyler Dorsey still balling out, and of course, the Thunder having the worst offense in the NBA over the last month or two. They're falling apart. Paul George has completely fallen out of his dark horse MVP race. Russell Westbrook, he has off games. He had an off game. Not very good. I did catch that the Magic won to get within a half game of the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference playoff race. And that's something I talk about with today's guest, Kelly Dwyer. We kind of just banter, talk about some random NBA stuff and music, but we do focus a little bit on the Eastern Conference playoff race, which is getting really tight. And this other game, which is going on for me right now as I talk, is this Portland-Brooklyn game. Brooklyn, if they lose this game, they could find themselves in a world of trouble as they keep sliding back to the pack as the Magic have put some pressure on. I don't think they want to be the 8th seed, and then they could even maybe be the 9th seed. It is feasible because their schedule is by far the hardest in the NBA. If you just go by the strength of schedule, the winning percentage of the remaining teams the Nets have to play. So we got a lot of good stuff on the show and a lot of good stuff from Monday night. Also on Monday night, I didn't see much of the game at the end. The abomination that is the Phoenix Suns losing by 30, yet Devin Booker went off, scored 59 points, and they were running, with the game over, down 30 points. They were desperately trying to get him 60 points. The Jazz were not having it. The Jazz were fouling other players to send him to the line. I believe they call that a shamrockery. I don't know. Devin Booker, man. I know people like him. I know I got some feedback from last episode with Dave DeFord and Anthony Irwin where we were putting him down. I don't see it. I don't get it. Very talented, but maybe the Suns have ruined him. But he's a guy I just don't see the appeal of. But again, the worst situation ever. Maybe one day the Suns will have all their ducks in a row. They'll have hired their new GM, be it Jim Paxson or Kevin McHale or something, and Devin Booker can see some of that. Do some of that, those big numbers in a winning situation. But anyway, I want to tell you guys before we get to the interview about the Draft app. Haven't talked about it in a while, but it is a daily fantasy basketball app that I adore. A lot of you guys, maybe your fantasy basketball seasons are over. I'm still alive in the Mike and Ike Candy League, one of our listener leagues, in the final of that one up against Kevin Lochner. Who has a very strong team. Looks like it's going to be a toss-up. And I'm still going in our negative fantasy league over at fantrax.com. But if you still want to play a little extra fantasy, and this is something I like doing every single day, I play Draft. You can download the app at draft.com/fastbreak, or it's in the iTunes store, the Android store. The way it works, it's unlike other salary cap daily fantasy leagues, is you actually have a draft. You have a snake draft or you have a blind auction draft to pick your team for the night. So, sharks can't come in there and just enter their same lineups over and over and over. You actually have to do a draft. The drafts themselves are pretty fun. I mainly just play for $1, but you can play for actual money. It's legal, I believe, in every state, but maybe Missouri, because it's fantasy sports. It's not gambling. But you do your draft. You get your players for the night. Maybe there's a couple guys you think are going to have a really good night. Maybe that Delon Wright is going to probably fill in for Mike Conley, even though Mike Conley is questionable. But questionable means he's not going to play. So it's a daily fantasy thing where you draft your team, and either, again, that snake or that auction draft, and then I just play for a couple bucks. I play with the listeners, the Fast Break Breakfast listeners, our Patreon supporters. I will follow you back on there. My username is Fast Break Breakfast, because you can just invite your friends. You don't have to play against strangers. You can do a head-to-head game. You can do a 3-person game, a 4-person game. You can even spend more money if you feel like it. They got $5, $10, $20 rooms. It's like one of those old poker rooms where you go in, when you open the app, it shows you a bunch of different drafts you can enter. And again, I love it. It's just a simple, easy game. I play for just $1. I'm still riding on the first deposit I made over a year ago. Still playing off that money. It's just a lot of fun. It's another way to enjoy watching NBA basketball every night. And again, if your fantasy team got eliminated, you can just play daily fantasy. I'll play against you. It's so fun. Draft.com/fastbreak. If you download it in the iTunes or Android store, make sure you enter our promo code FASTBREAK, and you will get a free entry into a $3 cash game. And another thing that's great about Draft and it being legal is you can just buy in with PayPal. You can PayPal in, then they'll PayPal you back out whenever you want to withdraw it. So it's very simple. A lot of those other offshore casinos, takes a while to get your money out. This is not the case. This is easy in, easy out. No delay at all. So download the Draft app, use our promo code FASTBREAK to get that free $3 entry and to let them know that we sent you. Find me on there. My username is FastBreakBreakfast, and we'll play Draft together. Download that Draft app. You can do it at draft.com/fastbreak. And remember, use our code FASTBREAK. My guest today writes about the NBA at The Second Arrangement, which I think is the go-to blog for the NBA's media elite. It's Kelly Dwyer. Kelly, how's it going?
Oh, gosh. Media elite, right?
No, I think the media elite, they read your stuff. It's definitely that's how I would describe it.
They do. Those, some of your favorite writers are active paid subscribers, and it's a fun place to be. But elite, I mean, I guess I'm not running from the Steely Dan thing, but here I am. I'm the NBA blog that you take into the stereo store to see if it's a good setup.
Yeah. So you obviously have a love of music. I assume you've somehow perfected playing guitar and writing at the same time. Is there a voice dictation? How are you playing guitar while you come up with your second arrangement box score write-ups?
Well, I since we cut the cable, I watch all my games on the laptop or my phone, and idle hands, especially, and I do not mind saying this, since I got sober. Up to 2 years ago ish, it just I suddenly I was confident in my playing to a point where I didn't mind other people hearing me while I was playing, while I was watching basketball, because that's how I consumed it during the Yahoo days. So now what I do is I just sit down with my little solid state 8-inch Fox amplifier and play my tasteful little jazz licks while I'm just switching between the tabs on NBA games and the little setup I have with my phone. And the next morning when I watch all the nationally televised games on the replay, I have the guitar. It's just a wonderful release. I encourage anyone to re-pick up an instrument again. It's done marvelous things for my well-being. Are you punctuating good plays you see with like a little 100%. Lick? You're like, oh, that was a nice pass. 100%. Do it up, I do. Something. Like that was my blues guitar lick with my mouth. I'm sorry, everyone who heard it. Yeah. You cannot help it. It's just just if you're listening to a song at the same time and playing along to it, it might speed up your rhythm. I know that happens while I'm watching the Hawks. Not even Trae Young, just the little stuff they have in between, like the transition bits they do. I've noticed myself during their games speeding up while I'm playing. A little ahead of the beat, along. Yeah, I guess because I'm self-taught, so I don't really know my way around that stuff. So I gotta figure out a slower way. So luckily, around the same time the Grizzlies start playing. What team is the steadiest, like metronome, where you're not going to speed up, you're not going to slow down if you're watching this team? Oh, it's Houston. You can take long solos to Houston, long, adroit, tasteful solos to Houston while we settle everything down while Dr. Harden sets up. Oh no, okay. He'll be in to see you within the next 24 seconds. It's probably Houston. It's not a lot of long extended stuff because I'm switching between tabs so often on the fancy league pass here that it's just I get my little bluesy licks in while I'm playing along to jazz records on YouTube that I bought on CD 20 years ago, but don't want to go over my parents' house to go pick up. Yeah, no, physical media, very annoying.
I think I feel like there should be a contract I could sign to be like, I bought this in 1996. I don't want to find it. I just want to hear it right now. I don't feel like I should have to log in to Spotify or pay the money. Just give me these songs that I've already bought in my lifetime.
I just got an iPhone recently, so that I've just now been over, but I listen to, honestly, daily tapes that I have from the 90s. It's just what I listened to in high school, old weird blues records and stuff like that. I listen to them not out of nostalgic tone, but like that's the records I want to listen to, and it's the most convenient way. I don't have a good cell phone set up in my kitchen, but I got a funky boombox that rocks out pretty hard for these Howlin' Wolf tapes. Music's always got to be playing for me for some reason. It does something to the beast in me. It certainly helps with basketball. I do listen to the announcers a lot, but I also love, half the time music is going.
I was thinking of an idea. I don't know if it's right. I feel like this should be for you at the second arrangement. If not, I'll try to farm it out to someone else. I want to see something that compares like point guards or just any guards and their dribbling speed. I started thinking about this when you were talking about the Rockets kind of just pounding the ball. Figure out what the beats per minute is for like Chris Paul's dribbling, and then there it is. Yeah. No, but figure out compare like James Harden dribbles at the same speed of the Bee Gees Staying Alive. He's a solid 100 beats per minute on his dribbles or something like that.
That has to be a thing. I'm sure that's a thing. Pitch that to someone, because it's going to be whoever's closest, whoever's the perfect Jeff Porcaro rhythm is going to be, all roads lead back to Nash with this stuff. They find out some sort of extract that he developed in 2004 that aided in all this. But yeah, I'm sure there's something. That's a great idea. There has to be something to that. I'm not the guy to find it because I am hopeless with rhythm.
Well, all you got to do with that new iPhone, I'll send you some details on some apps you can get where you just tap in the beat and it tells you how many beats per minute. So all you got to do is watch those basketball games, tap your finger every time the ball hits the ground. Then you get your beats per minute, and then Google, baby. Just figure out what songs. I think. Okay,
so these are websites you send me to where I get the download email, and then I'm. Okay, that's just crazy talk to me. I'm upset because the stylus on my turntable in my kitchen is broken. That's the advancements I got to make. I got to.
So you're still living. Yeah, I understand. You consume your podcast on vinyl, I assume. You make
podcasts podcasts are a luxury in these here parts.
Sure.
That's when Alice down the hall gives up the phone. It's a wonderful. I do love going in between media and not having it all wonderfully perfect, because I'm just gobsmacked. I came of age in the Napster age and hating the kids, and my own self were stealing things for free,
right?
But hating what we did it. But it opened me up to, and I went out. I was a good boy in the 2000s. It went out bought all the stuff like that. But that's how I got into all the R&B that I listen to right now. That's how I got into all the jazz that I listen to right now. It's that free junk provided me with a lifetime of music. So I've tried to give back, but who knows where that money goes. But I'm grateful to have sort of, had a toe in both waters. And that kind of dips into what I'm trying to do now with the newsletter, because, for years it was Yahoo, and I was so happy to have all this free information. And then I got to work for Yahoo, and now I'm understanding what people may not want to pony up $5, because I, Kelly Dwyer, don't really pony up $5 for a lot of things month to month. So I didn't mean to make that a craven pitch, but that is sometimes what I think about when I'm plugging tapes into the boombox.
No, you're here for the pitch. It's fine. All of our listeners out there, support Kelly. What is tsa.substack.net? Is that right?
.com.
Everything else,
yeah, TSA, yeah. Or just see me on Twitter. I don't really tweet much these days. I basically just send out things that I like to read or my own work, which is KD on Hoops. Just seek, you'll find me if you want to. It's a wonderful site. You get behind the box scores all the time. I'm starting to do podcasts. when I don't have time to do behind the box scores, or when I just want to add on to them. And that's maybe where I get into more topical. I mean, well, what's more topical than a basketball game, I suppose? But more afternoon TV sort of things. And it's $5 a month, or you can do $100 a year and get into our Slack channel, which is a lot of backstage fun. But I'm having the time of my life.
I know about those Slack channels. That's where you meet the real fans / crazies. No, I'm kidding. I love all you guys.
It is a trip. The people in there are so. I just go to it at the end of the night, think I'm going to drop in a clever remark, and just no. Wow, this is because they're all full of graphics and whatnot. Not graphic things, but just a lot of funny images and stuff in there. It's a hilarious group.
I think the kids call those
memes.
I was going to say.
No, I think these predate memes by a good several versions of yeah. This is something distinct and very unique to our weird little viewership. And the media elite, I've been told it reminds of.
There you go. Way to bring it all back full circle. Well, so I have you on. We were going to talk about
from a guy that uses Coinstar.
Yeah. We're going to talk about kind of the Eastern Conference playoff race, the bottom of the playoff race, like the Pacers, Celtics jockeying. We got into all this other fun stuff, but also we have to talk about your breakfast before we go any further. So Kelly, can you regale us with any breakfast tales?
I'm saving it because it has to happen right before I take my nap. But my breakfast that I have all my stuff is out on the counter right now. Because I haven't eaten yet today.
Yeah.
It always is, or most often is, do 2 strips of bacon on a pan. While the bacon's frying, I put a bowl and put a small amount of tortilla chips, just depending on how physical and active I've been that week, into a bowl. And then I cook the bacon, flip it over, cook it about 3/4 of the way, put it in a bowl with the tortilla chips, stick that in the microwave. That goes for later. Plump a good 1/3 of a bag, 1/4 of a bag, because that stuff goes quickly, of spinach right into that bacon grease. Then get some black beans right from the can, very cheap, right into that. Don't mix them together, but just let them sizzle. Then season the heck out of it. Cumin, cayenne, white pepper, black pepper. Cumin is very big in our household. Just season the heck out of it as you would greens and beans, and then just cook those separately. Move it to the side. Meanwhile, move over in the microwave and let the chips and the bacon go for 30 seconds. Let the chips get a little crispy and the bacon fry off a little bit. It's wonderful. It's a nice way to finish off.
Does it have a name?
Then you drop your egg in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're still. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, we're still going.
Yeah, we're still going.
We're still going.
Drop that egg in.
We got to put the egg in over easy, real quick. I do it very, very runny, very rare. Do it how you like. Pull the chips and bacon out of the microwave. Take the bacon off the top. Put it in a plate or something like that. But then I put my beans, my spinach, the egg, bacon on top of that, and it's kind of like chili killies without, or however you say it, without the chicken, and it's just all the protein I need for a day, and it's insane. Hot sauce, green chili sauce, it's a beautiful thing. And that's my breakfast most every day.
That's incredible. No, you're living your life right. I've got my saliva is working up. That was almost too much. I couldn't take it. Let's talk basketball.
It's a meal.
Yeah. Basketball. So you had the good fortune, I guess, of seeing the Indiana Pacers and the Nuggets play on Sunday. Interesting game. And you had the Nuggets who competing with the Warriors for the 1 seed in the West, and they lost by 40 points to a team that had lost 4 straight games, but is still somehow hanging on to that 4th seed in the East. The Indiana Pacers there. So the Pacers again. Not only had they lost 4 straight overall, they've lost 8 straight road games, and yet they're still hanging in there. What were your impressions of the game on Sunday?
Oh, Pacers looked. I mean, obviously they looked great. They won by 1 trillion points, and it wasn't really ever in question. They did not look like a team that had been on the road, but they also kind of just played to a T, didn't they? They just sort of we're the Pacers, and this is what we do. Yeah, we're getting back from this trip, and yeah, this is our record, but our record is who we are. We're not a killer team that goes out and impresses people in March without our best scorer in a West Coast trip. But there's a team coming in that's dragging and already has its signature win over Boston way in the rearview mirror, and it's super tired, and it's coming in on a Sunday afternoon when they don't even know what the crowd's going to look like.
and they recognized a team that didn't have it in Denver, and they just pounced, and they ran with they got into their sets incredibly quickly, and they did their thing. And Bojan Bogdanovic pitched an El Supremo, I think, for his first 16 shots, I think it was, before he missed, maybe 17. And they were at practice, and Denver tried. Denver was in it. They tried several comebacks, but in the first half, their Pacer starters were killing the other way around. The Pacer reserves were destroying the Denver regulars, and it was just not going to be that sort of night. But that's what the Pacers are. And I'd like to say that there's some spark in them that can achieve greater things in the playoffs, but we got to see that first, because they're still the team that doesn't have Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, so they're pretty much locked in to playing the Celtics. The question remains who will have home court in that series. The Pacers have a 2-game lead on the Celtics, who have lost 4 games in a row. Everyone is going to pick the Celtics to win that series, I think, no matter who has home court advantage. Do you think that's fair? Are we underlooking the Pacers?
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a handful, at least, of whether it's the clever pick or whether there's always some stats that I'm not going to see, especially with how unrepresentative the regular season is and forever will always be, forever and ever. Amen. Yeah, there's going to be some people picking the Pacers, and that's fine. But I think the Pacers, I think they get what they deserve at this point. The NBA is it's a global scene, man, and it's even the old Indiana Pacers, old farm boys from here in the sticks. They get the dap they deserve. They get. No one's surprised if they would have shoved Golden State up against the wall. No one is surprised if when the Pacers do something incredible, even without Victor, because it's been a year and a half since this stuff started happening. So I think they're ably represented. I think most teams are in this modern era.
So you witnessed something on Sunday that you might not be aware of. I just discovered this morning. Corey Joseph, who has been thrust into the starting lineup for the last 3 games, with Darren Collison being injured. Corey Joseph has a streak going of scoring 5 points or less. I went through the Basketball Reference to look what's the longest streaks what's the longest streak of a guy playing over 20 minutes and scoring 5 or fewer points. And they can only search back through the final 6 years with their little computer program. But Corey Joseph is currently on a 9-game streak, which is the longest streak by 3 games. PJ Tucker and Andrew Bogut had 6-game streaks, but currently Corey Joseph has gone 9 consecutive games of not scoring more than 5 points while playing over 20 minutes per game. His per 36 in the last 7 games is 3 points per game. Those are
That's marvelous.
Yeah, eye-popping numbers.
Bit of trivia.
It is.
Because usually when you get those Basketball Reference stuff, it's like, oh, it's cute, but that's like a really good TV level trivia question, because things have gotten so fast these days that it's rare to find. You're not going to get Brevin Knight staying out there for 40 minutes and sneaking out without a bucket.
That's
Bogut and Tucker. Wow, what a great find.
Yeah, and it's actually funny that so PJ Tucker has also occurred this year. Also, Kyle Anderson this season put together a 5-game stretch, and this is definitely like the weird little minutia that I love. That I guess maybe not as everyone else gets as excited about. Like when I tweeted this morning that pretty much something to that effect of Corey Joseph averages 3 points per 36 minutes in his last 7 games, thinking it would explode. This tweet and.
Well, I mean, something exploded here in this little tiny office. I can tell you, my brain has gone bonkers with. Kyle Anderson, I guess, but no one would think of Kyle Anderson because no one ever does.
Right. When you average 7 points per game for your career, you get overlooked sometimes. So do you still think with what the Pacers are doing? Do you think Nate McMillan maybe deserves the Coach of the Year spot over a Mike Budenholzer, or would you think maybe you'd go to somebody else?
No, it's Budenholzer because the expectations that Nate McMillan last fall of 2017 laid down the expectation to Bogdanovic, like, you're going to play defense and you're going to be a go-to guy. This is not floating around. You're just the 4th option, Dario Saric business. You're going to be in this. And I'm not saying he's living off that, but Budenholzer just did that So you give it to the guy that just did that and also has a team that is just bonkers. But Coach of the Year every year, you can give it to 12 dudes. And it's the deepest one every year by double.
Let's spend our last few minutes talking about the Eastern Conference playoff race, which is kind of the only playoff race still going. The Magic are hanging in there right behind the Heat. The Charlotte Hornets, thanks to Jeremy Lamb's buzzer-beating half-quarter and remarkable rally over the Raptors, have kind of put themselves back in the conversation. So right now we have, the 6 through 10 is kind of a mess. Each team separated by one game. You have the Nets, the Pistons, the Heat, the Magic, and the Hornets. I think I saw Jacob Goldstein's, a guy who writes for Nile Calculus. His computer simulations has like the Heat pretty much like a 20% spot of ending it, the 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. It's almost equal for them. They could finish anywhere. So how are you seeing that race as it plays out? Do you give the guys on the outside looking in, the Magic or the Hornets, any shot or over the final 9 games to squeak in?
I mean, whatever it does to keep them out, I'll do. So if that means hoping they'll get in or thinking they'll get in, yeah, I'll let me effuse that feeling. God bless the Orlando Magic, and I do appreciate, as someone who watches all these games, the competitive games, even if they're blowing people out sometimes. But I don't want 40 minutes, and it is 40 minutes of DJ Augustine on national TV playing the Bucks. I don't want that. I don't particularly want to see the Heat, make the Bucks think about what they have to do and give them a complex that lasts throughout the rest of the playoffs. And we don't want to see the Bucks at their best, but that could happen. And I don't think that's going to happen with the Magic or the Hornets. But, I mean, the last few things that have doubted the Orlando Magic, God be blessing goodness. They're a tough team. They're tough fellas down there, and they're working through quite a bit. And obviously they have the clear guidance of DJ Augustine. And Miami's just not the same with Justice Winslow in spite of Wade's, let's call him this, heroics. Guy lost his knees around the same time everyone had bangs. It was a long time ago when he lost his knees. And I just hope Detroit, you don't know what team you're getting from night to night, not because they're inconsistent, just because a lot has to go right for them to click offensively just to score enough points to win. And sometimes it doesn't happen. So I don't dislike, I've loved watching the Hornets down the stretch, and I respect the Magic, but I certainly hope the Heat stay in and give us something, irrespective of the Dwayne Wade loveliness that we'll get to see in his final bow. Boy, I hope the Orlando Magic make the lottery this year.
Yeah, I saw the Orlando Magic have the 5th best net rating in the last 15 games. They have the second best defensive rating in the last 15 games. And honestly, that was all a surprise to me. I feel like I watched some of their games, but those numbers really surprised
it was numero
me.
uno for a little stat. Whatever stat that I saw during a bit of this stretch, they were toppermost of the poppermost. So yeah, no, they've been destroying teams. It's just been miserable to watch.
I guess that's fair. I had to watch my Memphis Grizzlies blow a pretty good lead to them, and it wasn't pleasant. The Hornets are actually, it seems like they've decided maybe to turn the keys over to Miles Bridges, which also kind of gave me the why hasn't Miles Bridges been playing more all year? It seemed like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist getting a little banged up, and they decided to give him some more minutes was actually like a helpful thing.
He takes chances. But he's also perfunctory in how the ball meets his hands is either a shot or let's figure out a way to get it back to bread and butter guy. And Kaminsky is still in and out of that rotation, and they're a strange team. But I don't know what the Kidd-Gilchrist thing was strange, how he was just there and then he wasn't. Then there was some push to try to get him in, but. I don't know if anyone's doing anything wrong there. It seems like they're at where they're supposed to be at.
Yeah.
Is Jeremy Lamb overperforming? Were there little things Barrejo could have done here and there, or snipping Monk minutes or adding Monk minutes? I don't know. Like I really don't. So I think they're where they should be. They're really dependent on people performing outsizing their expectations, and Lamb did it this year by a lot, and Batum hasn't because he's old. And Marvin Williams only plays exceptionally well when they play terrible teams. because that's the only teams that play dumb enough defense to let him get open. Those are games where he's 4 3-pointers. So I respect him, but I hope they don't get hot. I hope Justice Winslow gets all the potassium he can get, and that his thigh heals up real good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where I definitely want the Nets, Pistons, and Heat to be the ones to get in. Just again, they're more enjoyable. They're aesthetically
Nets are a treat,
more pleasing. The Nets, although the Nets are in trouble, they have the hardest remaining schedule. Their opponents have a winning percentage of .641 of their final 8 opponents. Like they have to play the Bucks twice and the Raptors. It's not pretty. The worst team they play is the Miami Heat. So they have a 3-game lead on the Magic, but it might end up being way tighter, I guess, than we kind of thought it might be.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn, I think they own the Raptors. I think that's a thing. And, I mean, who knows what the Bucks are going to be looking like. I hope they rest Mr. MVP up there as much as possible.
Do you think any of those teams, Nets, Pistons, Heat, if they have the chance to aim at one of the top 3 seeds, or is there someone they're trying to hit? Are they trying to play the Bucks or the Raptors or the Sixers?
Yeah, I honestly, I haven't looked. That's not my gig right now, so I haven't looked at them. But I can tell you, Brooklyn could take any of those teams down, and I think they've whooped up on the Raptors a bunch this year. The Nets. The Nets could totally take a series.
Yeah.
I think you just get them there. All they need is a quarter and a half on the road, and the entire series changes. Karis LeVert is not going to be what he was last year, and Alan Crabb was no good, and then he got hurt. But they're going to be, there's sweat on the brow, as you mentioned, heading into April. So whomever they play, matchup or not, that's going to be a beast. And Detroit, and Miami, I just do not think have the firepower. They have famous firepower. I just don't know if they have enough to turn enough possessions to win games against really good teams.
Yeah, I feel like a Detroit would really go to war with the Raptors and the Sixers, but we might get some of those 1990s basketball scores or early 2000s, some 88 to 81s or something close like that.
In a good way.
Oh, in a good way. Okay.
I think these playoffs are going to be dope, and I think they're going to be competitive series. Like even in the West, I think whoever Denver plays, it's going 7 games and stuff like that. It's going to be great. Detroit is really fun to watch, and you can tell that Blake and Reggie Jackson are cool. It may have just come down to one conversation that happened around the same time that Reggie Jackson played the best basketball of his career. But they're cool with each other, and they're trying real hard. They want to work because they like what they get out of that offense when they apply themselves, but sometimes they just don't have the legs to pull it off. And you're depending on Luke Kennard to be the straw that stirs the drink, and no one wants him behind a bar. So I like Detroit. I like them a lot. And I like watching the Heat crawl all over the court and shut down fast breaks and run the zone and make really good teams work. What they did at Oklahoma City recently, the Heat are fun. I'd watch them all the time, think I'm going to hate them, and it's going to be Dwayne Wade dribbling too much and then taking a long 2-pointer that goes outside of the backboard. And even when he's not at his best, I think the Heat are wonderful. So, and they play super great on the road. So I think when spring really hits, it's going to be, I think even the East is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Coming from the guy who dreaded having to talk about the East.
Well, I love how the Miami Heat have Dragic, Wade, and Hassan Whiteside all off the bench. That I love.
Yeah.
Like that was
their, like 2 minutes in the last game or something. Yeah.
Like that was their core, and now they're bringing in all their big salary guys, like coming in flying off the bench, which is good. Well, Kelly, thanks.
That job security is a crazy thing. We're seeing it with GMs and you see with coach. You will do crazy things if and the Heat take advantage of that. So yeah, thanks for having me on to talk about teams that top out at 38 wins.
That's what we're all about. What should we look forward to from you coming up?
Oh, just if people sign up for the site right now, take $5. You get it for a month. That means you get all the crazy end of the month behind the box scores. We do them when you least expect, like Friday night games, and no one wants to watch. We're at home watching them, having fun with them, and then you're going to get the first couple of weeks of the playoffs for $5. It's pretty much you get a email or a podcast every day for $5, and then after that, you can decide if this is something you want to keep paying money for. Because guess what? There's not a lot of stuff out there that people want to pay money for. I get that. So, dig in if you want. $5, tsa.substack.com. Follow me on Twitter, Katie on Hoops. That's where I just basically tweet about my work and the work of other people I really dig. And be kind to each other.
That's perfect. We call you K Don Hoops, but that's just
I know
on our show.
Everyone does. Everyone does. I've the radio of a very famous stand-up comedian turned actress that they've on stage in front of many hundreds of people called me K Don Hoops. It's something I'll have to live with until I change my haircuts.
Perfect. Well, Kelly, thanks again for your time, and I look forward to talking with you again soon sometime.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks to Kelly. As I've been doing this, the Nets are up just a little bit in the end of the fourth quarter. If they win, that's a big win for them and locking down their postseason hopes. Make sure you support Kelly. He's just an independent guy kind of doing his own thing in the basketball writing world. And again, all the influential guys, they're reading his stuff. So you should see what it's all about. It's very, very good. TSA.substack.com. TSA as in the second arrangement. Check that out. It'll definitely enhance your basketball consuming. If you want to support our show, you can do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. I just put up a little bonus clip of Dave DeFore and Anthony Irwin and I talking. There's a pretty funny video recently put up of Chuck destroying 4 fillet of fishes, trying to go fo on the fillet-o fish. Also, remember the Draft app. Download that Draft app. Do it at draft.com/fastbreak. Use our code FASTBREAK and play some fantasy basketball against me. I love it. I play every day. Honestly, it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's kind of easy to win, at least relatively, or at least to keep your head above water. It's fun. So draft.com. Use our code FASTBREAK. All right, you can follow me on Twitter at FastBreakBreak. Follow us on Instagram. Like us on Facebook. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening, and remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fast break, man. You understand?